It's gotten to the point where I'm tired of good stories. One of the reasons why I started this whole adventure and travel thing is because I wanted to live adventures. And time again, crappy adventures happen to me, and I'm like, wow, this sucks, but at least it makes a good story. Now I'm kind of at the point where I'm tired of having good stories to tell. But I have another one. So, yesterday, finally managed to get on the plane, finally managed to arrive in Costa Rica as planned only 3 days later. I get to the airport over there, and I'm like, all right, get the SIM card first thing. Second thing, go to the ATM, get some money. But for some reason, my card isn't working. I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I tried again, still doesn't work. I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm probably gonna have to call my bank, but I don't want to deal with this right now at the airport. So let's go to the exchange bureau or counter and just use my credit card to pay to get money out. Try to do that. Credit cards refused. I'm like, great. Debit card doesn't work. Credit card doesn't work. This sucks. Luckily, last time I had to contact my bank, I upgraded my app that I'm using to park my phone number so that I can actually make phone calls to Canada. I only have 300 minutes per month, so basically I just keep it for emergencies. But in this case, can't get any money, new country, and the type of country where you need cash a lot of the time because you can't pay by card in a lot of places. I'm like, I need cash. That's very important. So I call the bank, and I'm on hold, of course, because it's a bank. And eventually they answer, and I explain the situation. They're like, okay, that's weird because we didn't get anything from our end when you tried to use your debit card. So there's probably an issue with the ATM. Try another one. Unfortunately, there's only one in the baggage claim terminal. And if I leave the baggage claim terminal, then I'm not going to be able to come back in and go to exchange counter and use my credit cards. I'm like, all right, the debit card should work fine. So let's just focus on the credit card. Unfortunately, it's a different department, so they have to transfer me to the credit card department. Wait on hold a while longer. Finally speak to someone, explain the situation again. And he's like, okay, everything on my end seems fine. Can you try it again while we're on the phone just to be sure? So try it again the third time. And still doesn't work. The one on the other side, she was very nice about it, but I could tell, like, she was thinking, like, wow, it sucks to be him. Yeah, it sucks to be me. Anyway, so he does a few things on his end. He's like, try it again. Still doesn't work. He's like, all right, there's nothing I can do. Everything seems to be fine on my end. I'm going to transfer you to someone else, and hopefully they'll be able to help you. Transfer me to someone else after being on hold for a while again. Speak to someone else, go through the same process of re-explaining the whole situation, and them telling me everything looks great on our end, and try a few more times. She's like, go to a different exchange counter and try there. I try, and it still doesn't work, and she's like, all right, it's an issue with the company. So since both exchange counters are the same company, the just I don't know what it is exactly, but just something about that company, like, I don't know, raised a red flag and it automatically blocked the transaction. So I can't use my credit card there. And so the summary of all this, the conclusion we get to is my debit card is fine, my credit card is fine, but for some reason I can't use either of them. So I'm like, okay, there's nothing I can do, so hopefully everything can be fine. So leave the airport. Luckily, I have Uber, so I'm able to order a taxi because if I had to pay for it, I would have been screwed. Well, half screwed because I had money left over from Colombia that I exchanged and I had US dollars that I exchanged. So I had a tiny bit of money, but really not a lot. Anyway, eventually get to the hostel. And when I come to pay, I'm like, I want to pay by card just to test that my card is going to work. So I try to pay. Yes, it works. Great. So my credit card works. It just didn't work at that place. I'm not sure if the debit card is going to work or not, but that's not a problem for now. So check in. I'm hungry by then. I haven't eaten anything all day, so I found a restaurant. Go have a bite. Pay with my credit card. And once again, it works. So come back to the hostel, relax for the rest of the night, go to sleep. Next morning, this morning, I wake up and do a little research and figure out, okay, where do I want to go? So ended up booking a place that's like 224 kilometers away. A city, relatively small city on the coast, and I was looking at the map and it's like there's two like beaches that come from either side and form like a whale tail thing. It looks really cool. So that's why I selected this place. Anyway, just got here after a 2 and not like a good 4 hour ride. Anyway, that's beside the point. Before I got to the bus station, I'm like, all right, step one, find an ATM, and not just any old ATM. I'm like, let's find a Scotiabank. That way, I'm guaranteed that everything's gonna work, and it won't be like, well, is it the problem with the card or is it the ATM? So I go there, cross my fingers, put my card in, try to take money out, still doesn't work. I'm like, crap. Just in case, try a second time, still nothing. Once again, call the bank, on hold. They answer, I explain the situation. They're like, everything looks fine on our end. We didn't get anything, and the error code was bank didn't respond or something like that. So basically, I'm trying to take money out, and my bank isn't getting the signal at the other end, so they're not authorizing anything. So because of that, I can't use my debit card. So I'm on the phone for like an hour. They transfer me a few different times. And once again, the conclusion is everything seems fine, but for some reason you can't use it. I'm like, okay, that's great and all, but I'm in Costa Rica. I need cash. I can't survive here very long without cash. So I'm like, can I use my credit card to take money out? And she's like, that's not my department. I'm going to have to transfer you to the credit card department. So I'm like, of course. Transfers me. I explain the situation. And once again, she basically, I'm like, can I do it? She's like, yeah, it just works like a normal debit card. You just put it in, withdraw from the credit card. The only thing is, because it's a credit card and not a debit card, you're going to get charged. I'm like, okay, how does that work? She's like, instead of, when you charge to a credit card and you have a certain interest rate for every month, it's the same principle from when you withdraw money, only it's every day. So unless I want to get charged every single day for the money I took out, every single time I take money out using my credit card, there's a fee, of course, and I need to make sure that I pay everything on my credit card immediately. Otherwise, I'm going to get charged interest every single day. So I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks, but whatever. So while I'm on the phone, I go and try it. I'm like, yes, it works. So at least there's a way for me to get money. Then I ask, given the whole situation, seeing how my credit card's supposed to be, my debit card's supposed to be working, the ATM's not the issue, and anything, it's like, it's not my fault. Is there any way we can waive the fees? She's like, sir, this isn't like what did she say? Oh yeah, she's like, this isn't an internet company. We're a bank. We can't do that. I'm like, yeah, but you don't seem to understand. And I explained the situation. I was getting to the point where I'm annoyed, and she's like, we can't do that. And I was just like, okay, fine. I get that you're trying to help. I get you're only doing your job. Thank you for your help. Have a nice day. And she's like, the only thing you can do is once you take money out, then you can call again and see if they're going to waive the fees. And I'm like, oh, why can't it ever be simple? Same with the airline. It's like, yeah, okay, I spent 6 hours at the airport, or 6.5 hours at the airport, finally got a replacement flight, but there was a bunch of extra expenses, like the taxi there and back, the Airbnb for an extra 3 days, and this and that, and all the other things. So it's like, every single time something happens like this, even if it's not my fault, there's always extra expenses. I'm like, can it just be easy for once? But of course it can't, because that's not what life is when you're traveling. But I guess this is what I asked for, I wanted to live adventures. This is an adventure. Multiple very crappy adventures. It's gotten to the point where I'm like, all right, the universe may be telling me that I shouldn't be here. Because before, I was trying to come here, it's like, no, you can't go there. Your flight's, for some reason, you missed your flight. I'm like, okay, that sucks. But I managed, I was stubborn. I stayed there for 6.5 hours, managed to get another flight, managed to get here. I get here, it's like, yeah, okay, you got here, but now you can't have any money. I was stubborn. I managed to get money, so I'm like, what's the next thing? Like, if the universe is really trying to tell me I shouldn't be here, what's the next thing that is going to happen? Am I going to get robbed? Am I going to get stabbed? Like, I hope not. But at this point, I'm like, I don't know how long I want to stay here. Anyway, put here for a week, so we'll see what happens. But that was my crappy story for the day. Hopefully the week and the month. That would be nice if nothing else crappy happens for a week or a month. That would be a nice change of pace. Yeah.